Well, I took part in artist residency program here in Bruton, and I prepared the whole of my Holborn show here and most of this show at Hauser Wirth Somerset in the studio here. I mean, it started off with the title, that was the first thing that I came up with, which is Brave New World. That was the starting point, and it developed from there, basically. The show opens up with the leaping gnome, and it's referencing Yves Klein's work, Leap into the Void. It's a staged photograph of the artist jumping off the wall. He's flying, so we don't know what happens next. The theme of gnomes extends into the show with the line of gnomes that lead from the courtyard into the gallery and gather around this signpost. The title of that particular piece is Marauders, so it's referencing some kind of outsiders or unwelcome guests. So they're leaving their natural habitats of the garden and entering the gallery. They're either curious to see what's going on in the show, or they're just cold from the cold winter day. The first room as well has got fairly straightforward kind of paintings with the signpost that's pointing at the paintings. The signpost is in a way nonsensical because it basically points at the paintings and gives out the titles, which is not explaining it or making it easier to read the works. In the second room, we have a selection of paintings, but we have the sculptures as well, which I hope create some kind of dialogue with the paintings. With these sculptures, I started off with the process. The main kind of focus was on the process of making them, not conceptual or not the final product. I used to make sculptures where I would have an idea, a clear idea, and then I would make it. This was more about a process of making and allowing the changes and the mistakes into that process with the unknown outcome. We have three sculptures that are loosely referencing the paintings in this room and creating some kind of dialogue with the paintings. The third room, we have installation piece, which is called Brave New World. So it shares the title with the whole show. It consists of an installation table of 70 odd figures, or looking outwards onto the wall painting, which is a wall painting of a jungle. I see it as the figures on the table represent humans, basically, and humankind now, and the jungle is the unknown and the uncertainty that's facing the humankind. And it's that change that's coming, and the combination of technology and the political kind of turmoils, and that's bringing the change kind of faster and faster these days. In the last room, we have two sculptures and three drawings. And the sculptures are almost the sum of that process of making this particular body of sculptures, because they were the last to be made. It wasn't the starting idea, but in the end, I realized that they represent some kind of deities or gods that are my own creation. I mean, the image of the god was my own creation. So I created something that almost venerates the whole process of making these sculptures. And they're multicolored, and I see them as positive kind of works. The three drawings on the walls are the drawings of prints of three kings, so that there is a reference to religion, in this case kind of Christianity, but not, it's just referencing some kind of religious aspect. I paint from imagination rather than real life because I find it more interesting, but the imagination is a sum of kind of experiences and the images I've seen in real life, and then kept them in my head. And once they come out, once removed, when they come out, I find it more interesting because they're never as they were remembered, because memory is a tricky thing. I allow that kind of false memory to come out because that way I think I construct more interesting landscapes, which reference the real landscapes, but they're not real. I think that the exhibition raises more questions than it gives answers. And I think it's not necessarily a bad thing because it would make people see things differently and make decisions for themselves.